Okay, so I'm going to start from the top. Can you shut that door for me? All right. Seth, after more research, the problem packages lost have been using a priority padded flat rate envelope. I'm sticking to boxes from now on and avoiding those altogether. Still shame on USPS. Awesome, brother. And keep going. I have had you on these streams for such a long time, Illinois. It is awesome to see you again. What is up, Wayne? Good to see you. How you doing, Marion? All right, Seth, can I do anything about a hijacker on one of our listings? It is for a product that is not our brand. So I know Amazon cannot assist, but I know 100% that they do not have access. So Marion, my question is, if they don't have access, then why is it that they're hijacking? If it's not your brand, there's nothing you can do. There's a second part to the question. They do not have access to this product. Their feedback also proves that they are not fulfilling any buyer orders. I managed to remove a similar hijacker recently via enabling them, but this lot are not replying. If it's not your brand, you can't control that. There's nothing you can do. And the reason why, Marion, is if you are selling the product in your listing, Amazon doesn't count it as your listing. It's part of Amazon's catalog. So if it's not your brand, if it's Bobby McGee, he goes out and he finds the product and he buys it for low at some retail store. And it may not be a fact, but for all Amazon knows, they don't know that. Or he buys it from your listing and decides to resell it, they can resell it on your listing. So again, unless it is your brand, that's not something you can control, which is why we focus so much on brand building. Now, I understand what you guys are doing this. It's how you started. You guys were hustling and you started to build it out, but you have to own the brand, which does bring up a second question. Are you guys 100% aware that when you create a new listing, you're going to have a box, a product identifier box called brand. And when you type in to that box, you're going to type in one of two words, either generic, so that you can get approved immediately. This is for all new Amazon listings on new Amazon accounts, or you're going to type in your brand. If you type in your brand, they will not accept it until you contact them, submit the form that says 5565 is the error that automatically pops up, and you have to prove to them it is your product by showing them a picture of your logo or brand on the product or a website. Now, if you take the short path and you type in generic just to get the listing working, that's great for a while. But as soon as the day comes where you say, you know what, I want to get brand registered, or I want this to be under my brand, then you can't go back and edit that listing. You have to create a whole new listing and start over. So I highly recommend you contact seller support, get their permission, and move forward. We've done it. It works. All it takes is 40 hours of patience, and that's it. All right. What's up, Mary? Good to see you. Hello, Raquel. How's it going? What's up, Edson? Great to see everybody. All right. Newbie started late April, still in fine stage, but I'm keeping on. Good job, Maya. 5 for you. Keep going. That's right. Exactly, Marion. All right. Next question is Jatin Aurora. And I love this question, by the way. I would like to know about the sales tax procedures for selling FBA in the United States for foreign non-US residents. You still have to pay them. Basically, it's like this. If I sell this product and I live in the United Kingdom, I'm not even a citizen in the US, okay? But I sell this product to someone in the US in the state of Texas. I still have to pay sales tax on it. Technically, the buyer pays it, but I have to remit it. Now, here's the cool part. Amazon is set up now where for most states that require it, they remit the tax for you. What that means is you go to settings, you click on taxes, and you go down there and you select which states you're going to be collecting taxes. And you need to do it on all the states that require it. Amazon will pay them for you. You still have to fill out a form, either quarterly or monthly. It depends on the state that says, here are my sales, and I have a third-party provider managing the taxes, which in this case is Amazon. Great question, by the way. All right. Same with product research, says J10 from last one. Looked for several products, selected one, but not sure with that also as there are high demand and high competition. Here's something you guys should know. I would not focus as much on the word high competition as I would on ease of entry. It really doesn't matter how many people are selling this product. Like let's say they're selling it 100 times a day and there's 50 of them. If you can do two things. Number one, if you can fix the product in a way that no one else is, which means yours stands out, which means people aren't comparing yours to everyone else's. They're comparing yours to no one else's because yours is the best. It does something they don't. Second, if the reviews are not too high, if you take just the top 5 competitors and they have less than 100 reviews and they're getting a ton of sales, then you can as well when you start, because obviously you start with no reviews. Great question. All right. What is up, Mo? Good to see you. Seth is getting that last rep in. Nice, Nathan. All right. Let's see. Too much high demand, but we'll keep going. Yeah, guys, do not let the high demand deter you. It's more about ease of entry based on reviews and differentiating the product. Don't let that cause you to be afraid. All right, as a beginner, will it be safe to import goods from China into the US, says Jayton, looking in the two current scenarios between the two countries? So yes, absolutely it is safe to do. The shipping for freight shipping and for air express, the cost has gone up, but the shipping by sea, the cost has almost changed, not at all. And so yes, you absolutely can do that. And just for a little pro tip, sometimes the fastest way is have your supplier ship the product for you. Get a couple other quotes just to make sure the prices are not crazy high or crazy, low, which means they could be doing something shady. And that way you have a reference point. And if you ship by sea, you will save a ton of money. Now, one other thought, guys, when you start your Amazon store, don't just think of, hey, here's my product and I need to make a profit. Of course you do. But your first batch could be as small as 150 units. You send those in and you don't actually make money, which is perfectly okay because you're investing not just in the product, but in the listing that holds the product. So when you run PPC, when you optimize your listing, when you test different photos and find out which ones help you convert better, then you find out keywords that no one else is using because you're using what we teach in our membership, all of a sudden your listing, its value goes up. In other words, it doesn't matter how amazing your product is, it will only sell as well as your listing is. The sales of your product depend on your listing. So if you do a small batch at the beginning, I hear a lot of people that think, man, I have to buy 2,000 units. No, you don't. I have to buy 5,000 units. That's how everyone's supposed to do it. No, you don't. Why not start with 100 or 250? Find a supplier who will negotiate. But Seth, the cost per unit is going to be higher. It may not be profitable. That might be okay in the best way because that first batch gets your listing optimized. It gets it ranking really well. Then when you order your next order, now that you know exactly what to do and not to do because you made all your mistakes on a low investment, okay? You want to make your mistakes on a low investment, not a big investment. Now, when you do your next order of 2 or 3 or 4,000 units, now you're going to make money because the cost is so much lower for two reasons. Number one, the per unit cost is lower because you're buying in mass quantity. And number two, the shipping per unit cost is lower because you're shipping by sea instead of by air freight or air express. But Seth, that means I have to wait 3 to 4 weeks. Perfectly fine. You're not building this so you can be rich tomorrow. You're building this for your grandkids. You're building this so you can be rich in a year or two. You see what I mean? Think long-term and let the long-term goals drive your short-term decisions, and that will help you to be more wise. All right. Let me scroll down to the bottom really quick. Okay, give me 1 second, guys. I want to make sure I'm catching all your questions. Great questions coming in here a lot. All right, J10, next question. J10's got a lot of questions today. This is awesome. As today, the U.S. stopped all flights to Chinese airlines, is it possible the U.S. may stop imports from China as well? To my knowledge, no. And this is very temporary as well. Look at it this way. A huge amount of business in the U.S. depends on Chinese manufacturing. I highly doubt that is going to remain. So it's up and down all over the place. It's going to get better. So right now, guys, when you see the world going crazy and all this chaos going and just what's happening is almost crazy, especially in the U.S. and sad too. This is an opportunity to hustle harder. This is an opportunity to take what you see in the world and say, yeah, I would like to be part of the change. I would like to help. I can help people a lot more with wealth than not. And so this is going to make me hustle my ass off like crazy to build something that will last. Because I want my kids and my grandkids and their kids to grow up in an environment in an amazing world. I can help be part of building that world. What if we did this? What if we looked at ourselves as world builders? Instead of just business builders, what if we said, my business is to serve me and the ones that God has given me around me, but also I can use it to help others beyond me. You see what I mean? And all of a sudden now you start making a worldwide difference. This has been my long-term goal from the very beginning when I started Doubling a Dime. I never set out to start a course, but I knew I wanted to change the world in some way. And I felt like I was meant to. And I'm going to do that with you guys. And I hope you can do the same. All right, let's keep going. Great questions, you guys. All right. Hey, the reason we let you guys see the tree icon for a while only was just to remind you of our awesome logo. That it all started with a little tiny seed and it grew from there. Okay. How do you differentiate your product better? Great question. So one of my favorite topics is to talk about product design. In fact, literally sitting on that desk about 12 feet from me is a brand new design product that a supplier shipped that landed in our mailbox today. And we're super excited about it. It's actually patentable. So I could talk about this all day. Understand there are different levels of differentiation. If you are low on capital, you don't have a lot of money, but you need to make money, but you have time, then find a product that has one thing wrong with it and fix it. Sometimes it could be as simple as just changing the packaging, the perceived value. And people will buy a product in a more beautiful packaging than the competitors. Now, obviously you understand other people might look at that and go, well, I could do that too. And then they come out with really nice retail packaging. So you might make more money for a few months, and then you have to turn around and do what's called iterate. Iterations, just like software, you come out with one version and you keep upgrading it to better and better versions as you grow. That's the idea. So the most simple way is read what the critical reviews and the competitor listings are saying about your the products, and ask yourself the question, can I fix that problem? Go into Facebook groups, go onto Pinterest pages, enter into Instagram communities, and find out what people are saying that they love and hate about the product. The sky is the limit on what you can build today. It's unbelievable what you can do. All you have to do is apply your imagination. Sorry about the SpongeBob reference. I couldn't help myself. All right. Where do I look for the best suppliers in the UK? So I do not currently source from the UK. So I couldn't tell you where to look for them in the UK with one exception. There are a few suppliers on Alibaba and in the US that are, there are a few suppliers on Alibaba that are located in the UK and in the US. The Alibaba is primarily for suppliers from Taiwan, mainland China, and pretty much the continent of Asia. But as you dig deeper, you will find some Western suppliers in there as well. That's where I would start. Second, find a product that has the same material and approximately the same size as the product you want to build. Find their manufacturer. By the way, you guys can use GS1 for that. We're about to come out with a video on that for our members. It shows you how to find all this listing about your competitors through GS1. It's pretty badass. And it's so simple, you won't believe it. It's like, oh my goodness, why didn't someone tell me this before? And find that manufacturer and contact that manufacturer and begin that conversation. I appreciate these knowledge sharing sessions. I've learned a ton from you. Continue to do so. Thanks, brother. Illinois Picker, I'm really, really glad to hear this, and thank you so much. If I remember, I think I met you way back in the days when Lonnie Honeycutt and I were doing lives together. You were there, right? That was so cool. I remember those days. I need to reach out to Lonnie and talk to him again. Can you talk more on how to get ungated on grocery categories? Absolutely. The first thing you need to do is you need to sell in what's called an innocuous category. By that, I mean a category that does not require some special certification to get ungated. When you want to get ungated for groceries, after you have a healthy account, you've been selling for at least 90 days, your defect rate for shipping, if you're fulfilling your own orders, and returns, even if Amazon's fulfilling them, has to be within the minimum, then you're going to apply. One of the most important questions you're going to ask is, what does your product chain look like? I'm not talking about the lines of products, but how do you get that piece of food from the manufacturer, basically from the farm, all the way into Amazon's fulfillment center so it is not perishing? What do you do? What is that process? We have students who have a ton of knowledge in this area because they've worked in the food industry for years. They're part of that supply chain, and it's super easy for them to get ungated for that. One of our coaches just recently was ungated for the grocery area. He didn't have to put in a lot. He just had to show he didn't have to have worked in the food chain. He just needed to understand that process. Let me know if you want more details on that, and I can share more. Great question. Thank you so much for this. I think the light thing is doing something cool, or at least before, where it's lighting up. It's pretty awesome. All right, let us continue. Sorry, big thumbs. Where do I look for UK suppliers? No problem. I understood. You got it. Thank you so much, Ingrat. I will try in Amazon Mexico. We are in the niche on organic care products. How hard will it be to get into Mexico? Jose, you need a third-party company that will give you a presence in Mexico. Canada's easier to get into if you're a US citizen than Mexico. Because Canada, you can go online and get your license. It's very simple, and boom, you start selling. Whereas in Mexico, you need a third-party company that will give you a presence. And the reason I put that in quotes, it's as if you had an office there. So you're going to basically pay them a monthly or quarterly or annually fee to have a business location in Mexico, and they will give you your business license, and then you can start selling. I did think that was the case, Seth. Just wondered if any magic way to remove them. We made the product look like our own through images, which is why it's done so well. Best month to date in April, 75,000. Wow, that's awesome. Give me 5, Marion. Bam, all the way from Texas to the United Kingdom, well, to Wales, actually, specifically. So yeah, I wish I could tell you something magical to make that work. Literally, there's like nothing you can do to my knowledge. I mean, you could try using the warranty approach where you say, look, we have a warranty in this product, and you're kind of pretending to be the original owner of it and see what happens. Even if you took your listing and registered it with copyrights, registered it with the Department of Copyright and got that registered, and then when someone hijacks, you fill out that copy infringement form and you include the registration number for the copyright. I mean, try it. What do you have to lose? Technically, you're really doing an arbitrage type thing, but you know, Amazon has made a lot of mistakes not in our favor. So if they can make a mistake in our favor, I'm not complaining. Hey, Seth, do you drive external traffic to your Amazon listing? To my Amazon listings, yes. And the primary way is through Facebook and Instagram ads. So let me give you an example. Someone's scrolling on Facebook, and all of a sudden they see this really interesting or funny video or very engaging video that catches their attention. They watch it for entertainment, but then they notice they're going to get some benefit if they click the link below. That link takes them to a landing page where they can collect that info. Now that I have their email, they become part of a custom audience in Facebook, and I can use that to build out the custom audience and target the person who's interested in this fitness product category, for example. Something else that we just discovered that's fascinating: if you run Google ads on your listings, on your products, and you're driving them to Amazon directly from your Google ads, those Google ads, when people land on your listing, we have data to prove this, will actually add more juice to the keyword ranking on your product listing than if you didn't. And I specifically want to thank Patrick Kupolari for the work he has done in this area. And it's really, this is the joy of working with multiple people and coaches and sellers, is the combined knowledge is incredible. So let me explain again. If you run a PPC ad on Amazon, that's great. And that is going to help you buy. And the great thing there is people are there to buy already. So the conversion is high. If you drive people from Google or Facebook or Instagram to your Amazon listing, you can do this as well. Even though your conversion will probably not be as high because they didn't start on Amazon to buy, you just grabbed their interest, the ranking will be helped a lot because there's an algorithm it triggers where it's a non-Amazon platform. It's external traffic that's going to add juice to your keywords. And let's just say their keyword was pirate coffee mug, but you also have another keyword called Renaissance coffee mug. Well, even though pirate coffee mug is going to rank a lot higher, now Renaissance coffee mug will also get a little bit of ranking too, just because of association. Because it's part of the same listing, it will rank better as well. The ways in which you can drive traffic to your listing today are unbelievable, not to mention ManyChat. All right. How do you handle situations where USPS shows tracking as stalled, lost, and buyer demands refund? I've been refunding because Amazon will do it anyway. What do you recommend? Yeah, so I do it. I always offer the refund, no matter what, because you can't control the freight forwarder and the customer can't, and you're the business owner. And even though we lose a little money on the refund, in the long run, you're going to win because you protected your brand, and it's worth it. And I know it sucks and it's going to get better. Let me just share something with you guys I think you're going to find fascinating. Amazon has been maxed out lately. I love talking to people who think Amazon's saturated. It's the opposite. Amazon is lacking systems to be able to scale as fast as customers want it. Not us, obviously we want it too, but customers. Customers are going so much to Amazon now, especially with COVID-19. It's unbelievable. They've reached their max and they're having to go back and rebuild their infrastructure to make sure they can scale at the speed that they want. And this is a good thing, because when you have a problem like this, it means it's going to explode. So the issue is not, oh my goodness, what am I going to do about Amazon? The issue is, no, it's growing. The question is, if you haven't started, why not? Like, you should start now. Otherwise, if you wait, other people are going to become your competitors, and you're just making it harder for when you do start, when more people jump in. Because here's how things usually work. Just a very small percentage of people are leaders, and they stand up and say, like, this is a good opportunity, or this is wrong. And then all of a sudden, a bunch of people jump on after and say, oh yeah, that's the thing to do. You know what I'm talking about? I'm being a little political here, which makes me sad, versus people who actually care, who want to make a difference. Well, the same is true in business. You have to not let the masses validate your decisions, and this is true in life as well, you have to look at the opportunity and believe that even though 10,000 people, out of 10,000 people, maybe just 3 would see the same opportunity, you're not waiting until everyone is saying Amazon's the way. The day when everyone says Amazon's the way is the day we have a problem. It hasn't happened yet. There's so many people who criticize Amazon selling because they don't understand it, or they started and they failed, and they just feel like, instead of blaming their own lack of consistency or knowledge or endurance, they got to blame something to feel better. We're not there yet. And I thank God we're not there yet. All right, great questions, you guys. Okay, next question is arbitrage legal? I'm not laughing at you at all, but that's such a great question. I totally understand why you're asking. Let me explain the difference between hijacking and piggybacking. Piggybacking is arbitrage. Hijacking is illegal. Let me explain. Let's pretend that you went to Walmart and you noticed a discount, Arthur, and you found this mug sitting on the shelf and it's selling for $2. My wife KK did this just the other day. She got multiple mugs for 50 cents. She's going to sell them for $10 or $15 on eBay. Boom, she makes money. Simple as that. If you bought this for $2 and you notice it selling on eBay or Amazon for 15, so you resell it, okay, there's a doctrine, it's called the first law sale in the United States, where you have a legal right to resell something. Completely 100%, you're protected by the US. You can do that. And you can do that in most countries. It's totally fine. You can resell it, no problem. Like, why can't you? That's arbitrage. You're buying low, selling high. You're buying it at a retail level, like Walmart or Walmart.com, and you're reselling on a different platform that will actually make you more, okay? Now, here's where it gets crazy. When you list this on Amazon, you're going to notice a listing that already has all the pictures. And so when you go to add a product from Seller Central, it gives you 2 options. Create a new listing or sell in a listing that already exists. Find one in the catalog. So you click on the one to find it in the catalog, you find the listing, and you sell your coffee mug on the same listing that other people are selling on. It could just be you and Lucy Pickleberry, or you and Lucy Pickleberry and Bobby McGee, and 14 other people all selling on the same listing. That's arbitrage. They're all resellers, completely fine. And who tends to get the sale? The person who has FBA shipping and the lowest price. General rule. Okay, that's arbitrage. That's piggybacking. Now let me explain what is illegal. And I'm so glad you asked this because people get so confused about this. This is why in Marion's situation, it's hard for her to get the hijacker off, because technically it's not a hijacker, it's really a piggybacker. It's like arbitrage because she's not the brand owner. Now let's change the scenario. Let's say you created the listing for this coffee mug. You have the coffee mug manufactured in China. But Bobby McGee, he does have a dark side to him. He comes along, he sees it, and he finds someone in Vietnam who can build the same coffee mug for $3 less. He can totally undercut you. So he goes and has it manufactured, and instead of creating his own listing, he does the same thing. He piggybacks on your listing, and now you have 2 offers, your offer and Bobby McGee's. But because Bobby McGee's price is lower, he's going to sell a lot more, and he might even get the buy box, which means you have to click an extra button just to see that you're on the listing, and all of a sudden you start losing money. And naturally you're upset. Why? Because he broke the law. What did he do? He went and manufactured the exact same product from a manufacturer. He didn't buy it and resell it. He manufactured the same product. Now, here's where it's illegal. If this is your own custom design, your own custom product, and you have trademarked it, or at least applied for a trademark and it's pending, you have legal rights to protect it. Let me change the scenario. Let's say Bobby McGee bought this same one you make, because you start selling these in Walmart. Walmart has a discount. Bobby McGee goes, buys it for $2 less than you're selling it for, and now he lists on your listing. That's legal. That's arbitrage. Anthony Hogan is in the house. Seth, I have a question. Do I need to require certain documents or certifications to sell hand sanitizer? If so, what exactly do I need? Does my supplier have to provide these documents, or can I do it? So first of all, I would not sell hand sanitizer at all, okay? I think that would be very, very unwise, because COVID-19 is dying. It's not going up, it's going down, which is good news. And therefore, as a reason for that, it is going to make it very difficult for you to make any money, because it's trending downwards. So the only time you want to jump onto a trend is if you're at the beginning of it, not the end of it. Now, if you're like, Seth, it has nothing to do with COVID-19, I'm a hand sanitizing expert. Like, this is what I do. Okay, no problem. You can do that. But here's what you have to do. You have to get what are called MSDS documents, manufacturer manufacturer, I can't remember the name right now, MSDS, material safety data sheets from your factory. You have to submit those to Amazon, and then Amazon has to approve it for what is called hazmat. Because it's a liquid that's going on your body and most likely has alcohol in it, I'm assuming, not that kind of alcohol we drink, but the rubbing alcohol that goes externally to kill germs. They have to make sure it is approved for hazmat because it is a hazardous material. And they have to do that because in each fulfillment center, only a certain percentage of the products is allowed to have hazardous materials in that fulfillment center. See what I mean? So you need to get the data from the supplier. Now, when you apply for this, here's the thing. If the supplier says, hey, we don't have material safety data sheets, then they're probably not a supplier. They're probably a trading company. You need to find a different supplier. One more thought on this, guys, and this can help a ton of you. Create your listing at least a couple weeks before you even send money to the supplier, because then Amazon will automatically notify you and let you know if that listing is a hazardous material type listing. Then you can get your approval right away, even before you send a bunch of money to the supplier to make sure you can sell it. What you don't want to happen is get stuck with a ton of inventory and there's nothing you can do with it. What is up, Rachel? I am a new international seller looking to sell my products to US influencers, and I'm doing FBA exclusively with no 3PL. How do I go about doing this? Here's what you do. When you get your product manufactured, come out with at least 10 prototypes. Ship them to the influencers and say, hey, I hope you love this product. Let me know if you like it. It's free. If you like it, you'll probably post about it. If just 3 of those 10 post about it, you already have a huge opportunity. Now a ton of people are seeing it. Now you know they like it. Then you follow up. You Instagram message them, or on TikTok if you want, and you say, hey, so glad you like the product. I would like to send you a few more for free. Could you do some kind of deal with your followers where they can win 1 or 2 or 3 of them? And I will give you a link to drive them to the Amazon store. And that is where it gets really, really fun. So now you set this up with influencers to drive traffic to your Amazon store. When it comes to it being an international seller, you're gonna have your supplier, once you start producing in mass bulk, ship the products to Amazon's fulfillment center, and each product must have the fulfillment network stock keeping unit number on it, FNSKU. And I would highly recommend that they print it into the retail packaging so that Amazon can scan it and put it in the correct place in the fulfillment center. Let me know if that is helpful. Rachel? All right. What is up, Lorene? Good to see you. What's up, Eric? Good to see you, man. I'll see you very soon. What about not only making a product better, but repurposing it? Absolutely, you can do this. Just make sure of 2 things. Number 1, if you're repurposing a product, make sure that what you're repurposing is not the patent, whether it's a utility patent or a design patent. In other words, you worked around that. And by the way, guys, don't be afraid of patented products. A patent is just one little part of a product. You can't actually patent a product. It's physically impossible. Like I could patent the design of this handle, or I could patent maybe utility patent the thickness or the material or the beveled edge of this for functionality. That's utility patent. But not the entire mug can be patented. That would mean no one else in the world could ever make a mug without my permission, which would be crazy, see? So just as long as you're working around those, you absolutely can repurpose. And when you repurpose a product, I'm assuming, Eric, you're still going to improve something, whether it's the packaging, maybe it's the thickness of the product, maybe it's the design, the color, anything, how it feels, the material. You're repurposing, but you're improving it somehow from the old one. Or maybe the product looks the same, but it's all about the marketing. Just make sure you have the full rights to do it, because if someone else already produced it, don't want them coming back and saying, hey, Eric, sorry, man, but you're selling my product. Like, well, you see what I mean? You want to be careful about that. Great question. All right, Julita, as a Canadian seller, how does sales tax work in the US? I know Amazon collects tax for most states, but do I have to do anything on my end for the others, even if I don't meet the threshold? So if you don't meet the threshold, you don't have to do anything, but I would recommend you just set it all up now. Like, why not? Amazon takes care of all the remitting of the tax. All you do is you send in a quarterly report, and there's an option on there that says a third party is managing or paying the sales tax for you, which is Amazon. That's it. They just need the report. States are all about the reports. They have to have that report. And if you have the report, they won't harass you. Reaching different lower competition keywords. Yep, absolutely. It's a huge, huge way to do that. And that's where you can get low-hanging fruit, where the cost for launching the product is way lower. What should I do to avoid getting my account suspended when I try to log in while I'm out of the country? Great question, Sargis. You can use a server if you want. You can log in using a, what is it called, EJ? When you log in through a different IP address. Virtual network, it's slipping my mind. VPN, thank you. Virtual private network, you could do that. So I have a virtual private network on here. So anytime I'm in China, I just log in through the US. So when I'm in my Seller Central account, it doesn't get suspended. Chances of that happening have gone down. That used to be a bigger issue. Amazon has become a lot more flexible in this, but I would still do it just to be safe. Great question. All right, Jeff Burkhart is in the house and he says, hey, Seth, can you talk about opening a second Amazon account? I have heard conflicting thoughts. Yes, of course. Absolutely. And I hope after I answer this question, you have no more conflicting thoughts because I've done it so many times, it's not even funny. Just recently, within a few weeks ago, Amazon allows you to open a second account without having to put in an application and get permission. However, it's really important that you use a different email address. And if they ask you why, you tell them it is for tax purposes and branding. Taxes and branding are two of the most important things in Amazon's eyes because it's all about compliance. Branding, they don't want to get sued for trademark, copyright, patent issues. Taxes, we'll go figure. State taxes, collection of taxes, all of that. So tell them if they ask, those are the two main reasons. And when you do it, make sure the kinds of products that you're selling on this side are one kind, and this kind, maybe they're candles, is another kind. In other words, you don't want to be selling the same kind of products in both accounts. Now, the only reason I do it is because we've built some very large brands, and I don't want to put them at risk where I have everything in one basket. And if something happens, because Amazon has all the power, they could completely tank my business. And I don't want that to happen, so it protects me. Great question, Jeff. What is up, Jose Luis? As a US LLC or sole individual account, I think you mean sole proprietor, right, my friend? Can I ship my product to Mexico or UK Amazon warehouse to sell local on those markets? Are there import restrictions in those markets for the US? Yes, absolutely there are. You can ship it, but there are import restrictions. And this is what you need to do. You need to get a freight forwarder with a customs agent who is part of that team. In the beginning, I would have a customs agent over here and a freight forwarder over here. I will never do it again. I learned a lot, but man, was it a hassle. I spent so many hours filling out papers and going back and forth between the two. Find a freight forwarder that has all you need in one. And the customs agent will simply give you the documents to fill out and sign, and you follow their instruction. Number two on this, do DDP, delivered, duty, paid. That means that the freight forwarder is responsible to get it all the way to the Amazon fulfillment center, not just to an airport or not just to a port. And now they say, here you go. You got all these boxes. Now do something with them. Like, what? How do I do this? You see, I learned the hard way. And I hope that helps you to not make the same mistakes. What's up, Paul Chamberlain? Said, after some market research, we have an idea that will work even though it's a new product to the market. We want to know the idea, Paul. I won't answer your question until you tell us the product. No, joking. How do you best approach a supplier so they don't distribute or steal your idea? The answer is 3 letters and they're all the same. N, N, N. I can't even remember what they stand for. I'm actually going to Google it. You didn't stump me though. I gave you kind of the answer, but no, seriously, an NNN is sort of like a non-disclosure agreement. Non-disclosure agreement simply says you share your secret with me about your product idea. I can't go sell it and I can't share it with anyone else. And NNN goes a whole nother level. It protects you on the, I'm not even going to read it, guys. Give me a second. I can tell you what you need to know. I just can't remember what each N stands for, but what it does is it protects your product at a whole other level. It means the manufacturer cannot sell that same product. The manufacturer cannot say, I own the mold that produced the product. The manufacturer cannot take that product and redistribute it to another Amazon seller or sell it on Amazon. The manufacturer may not even share the idea. Now, here's a problem you can run into. There are a lot of lawyers out there who will say, oh yeah, no problem. Send me $3,000. I'll write you up an NNN. And they want your money. There's a problem with it. If you don't have a business located in China, that NNN is not enforceable. Some lawyers don't care. They won't tell you that because they're like, oh, if I tell him that, he's not going to want to start a company in China. Therefore, I lose my business. So let's still do it. Here's the reality. It still scares the heck out of suppliers because in China, it's very much in business about the rules. It's about the friendship and the rules. They're very rules driven. So when it becomes a legal issue, when you approach them, not just as a business partner, but, oh, by the way, I've got legal backup, even an NNN without a Chinese business is better than none. And if you get a Chinese lawyer who only speaks Chinese, which means you're gonna have to pay a sourcing agent to be the middleman or middlewoman, it'll probably cost you $200 to $400 at the most. It's very low cost. Some of them will not do an NNN unless you have a Chinese company, which in that case, you could say instead of opening one there, you could just say, look, I'm not gonna open a company there because the taxes there, by the way, are very high if you have a company located in China. I'm going to partner with someone who does have a company in China and say, would you be my representative, sort of like power of attorney for this agreement? So I would use an NNN agreement. Now, having said all of that, it still is not an absolute guarantee, but in my experience, it is the most effective method. There's one more thing you need to think about. Your friendship, your relationship with that supplier means a lot. So I would, from the beginning, ask, do you sell on Amazon? What are your typical most common clients? Ask them on your phone over WeChat, over video chat. And if they say, well, yeah, and you feel like they're kind of fudging, say, look, I'm going to find out anyways. Just tell me the truth. Because now if they tell you they sell on Amazon already, your chances of them breaking contract with you is much higher. But if they're so busy making products for the retailers, they don't want to retail. They don't want to deal with customers. They just want to focus on a few great clients. That's the perfect business partner, factory, manufacturer, supplier you could have. And focus on the friendship, because friendship does mean something to them. If you go to China and they take you to a bar or restaurant and they serve you a ton of alcohol, that means they trust you. Just telling you, based on experience. I'm not saying get drunk. All right, I'm gonna take one more question, guys, and I gotta run. These have been great questions, you guys. I do want to help you. So if you can do this, if you send me an email, seth@justwhatdime.com, I will answer it the best that I can. I will tell you this though, before I answer this last question, if you have not decided or made up your mind yet, if you're gonna sell on Amazon, if you haven't yet, decide today. Otherwise you're wasting your time. If you have decided, get someone to help you, whether it be Just One Dime or someone else. If you go to justonedime.com/start, you will get 90 minutes of free training. Or if you go to justonedime.com/freedom, we will train you for life. Once you're in, period. And our team is quite amazing. Okay, Grace, how's it going? It is so good to hear from you. With many unemployed looking for new opportunities, can you sell on Amazon? Yes, absolutely you can. I do right now. Would you report sales or income on unemployment as inventory expenses are high or year-end? Let me read that again. Would you report sales or income on unemployment as inventory expenses are high? I don't understand the question. Would you report sales or income? Oh, I see. Which would you report? Would you report your sales, okay, your revenue, or your income, your net, on unemployment as inventory expenses are high? Definitely your net. Great question. Definitely your net. Yeah, they don't care about how much revenue came in. They care about how much you made. It's kind of like this. So I have employees, they're paid. The revenue is here, and then part of that goes to them, right? But they don't see all the expenses that go behind that. They don't care. They don't need to care, right? So when you're applying for unemployment, that's what you would do. Okay, guys, this has been great. You guys have, there's a ton more questions. I am really sorry I cannot get to all of them, but Paul Chamberlain, Seth, what does NNN stand for? You're trying to stump me, aren't you? I ran out of time. I just saw that at the very end. Oh my goodness. I love it. You knew, you could tell I couldn't remember what it stood for. You're like, I have an opportunity here. Okay, cool. Guys, these are great questions. If you email me, I will answer them the best that I can. In the meantime, go to justonedime.com/freedom. We will do everything we can in our power to help you succeed. And I mean that sincerely. Just to give you one little piece of information, we don't always share this, but I have been sharing it more often because my staff believes I should. We spent more money than we made money on coaching people last year. Now, don't say that, so you feel sorry for me. Don't feel sorry for me, please. We're building a brand here, but I just want you to know that's the kind of team we have, which I'm super proud of to share. You guys have an awesome day. Thank you so much, everybody. And I wish you an amazing weekend coming up very soon. One last thought. If you believe that changes need to be made in our world where a lot of abuse is happening, don't just post on social media. Do something about it. In fact, in just a few hours, I'm going to have a podcast on this very topic, which I'm really looking forward to. You guys take care. Bye, everybody.